Connecting the Dots, Reliving Northwoods History with Carrie Bladon.
Many people are familiar with Rhinelander beer, a brand rooted in Wisconsin history. The Rhinelander Brewing Company was established at a time when nearly every small town in America, especially in Wisconsin, boasted its own local brewery. The Rhinelander Brewing Company was once located on Ocala Street in Rhinelander, now the site of the Eye Clinic of Wisconsin. Throughout the years, like many businesses, breweries were constantly devising new marketing strategies to boost sales. In the 1940s, the Rhinelander Brewing Company introduced a novel idea. Instead of selling more beer, they decided to sell less, by volume that is. They became the first brewery in the Midwest to offer their beer in a 7-ounce bottle, a smaller size that proved extremely popular. This product, well known as the Rhinelander Shorty, outsold any other beer the company had produced up to that point. The origins of the Rhinelander Brewing Company trace back to 1891, founded by Henry Danner and Otto Hilgerman. Disaster struck in 1897 when a fire razed the brewery. Fortunately, enough beer was saved from the flames to keep the local lumberjacks and other patrons supplied for several months. A new brick brewery was quickly constructed in its place, and operations continued smoothly until 1919, when Prohibition forced the brewery to shut down. The brewery found new life in 1933 when Otto Hilgerman's son, George, teamed up with Milwaukeean Larry Henning to reopen it following the repeal of Prohibition. Henning provided the necessary equipment in exchange for stock, restarting operations at the old plant. Under Henning's leadership, who would become the majority shareholder and president by 1934, the company's profits surged, with sales increasing year over year through the late 1930s. By the end of the decade, the brewery sought to expand its market reach further. In 1938, they introduced Rhinelander Export, a new Pilsner beer with a 5% alcohol content, tailored to be exceptionally drinkable. In 1939, Henning received a pivotal tip from Bill Kruger, a seasoned Rhinelander beer truck driver and salesman. Kruger noted that there was a demand for a beer more suited to women, as they tended to drink slower and a regular 12-ounce bottle would warm before they could finish it. He suggested offering the beer in a smaller bottle, a concept that would lead to the creation of the Rhinelander Shorty. Around the same time, the Latrobe Brewing Company in Pennsylvania began marketing a beer sold in a 7-ounce pony bottle called Rolling Rock in 1939. Inspired by Kruger's suggestions and Latrobe's development, Henning's marketing team decided to run with the idea. This marked the beginning of a year-long cartoon ad campaign drawn by Milwaukee artist Russ Davis, featured in newspapers across the state. The Rhinelander Shorty beer, sold at 10 cents a bottle, was a massive hit. In its first year, the Rhinelander Brewing Company sold more than 2.5 million Shorty bottles. For Shorty's first birthday, a celebration was held at the Oneida Hotel in downtown Rhinelander. Northwoods celebrity and tourism marketing guru Joe Mercedes served as the master of ceremonies, and 150 cases of free Shorties were distributed at the event. In the subsequent years, continuous marketing efforts made Shorty the brewery's bestseller. Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial cartoonist Ross Lewis from the Milwaukee Journal was commissioned to create a series of over 130 publicity cartoons featuring Shorty, with the recurring tagline, "Where's Shorty?" These cartoons, which covered topics from wartime to hunting to hodags, always humorous, were published between 1941 and 1952. They were hugely popular and used as newspaper advertisements, printed as posters, on matchbook covers, and incorporated into calendars, making these prints highly collectible today. The Shorty advertising campaign incorporated a variety of creative promotions, including 2 planes painted with the Shorty logo, Shorty bottles transformed into lamps, and salt and pepper shakers made out of Shorty bottles graced supper club tables across the Northwoods. One of the most popular gimmicks associated with Shorty beer was devised by local sign painter Bill Cleveland, who had a shop just down the block from the brewery, and brewery president and treasurer Pete Steinmetz. Bill developed a method using steam heat to insert a wooden arrow through a hole drilled in a Shorty bottle. This arrow through a bottle became a promotional tool for back bars and was produced in a garage behind the brewery. Later, Pete's son-in-law, Vic Zettler, designed a jig to simplify the process. At one point, there wasn't a bar in the Northwoods that didn't display a Shorty bottle with a wooden arrow through it. significantly boosting Shorty beer sales. Over the decades, Shorty became Rhinelander Brewing Company's most popular product, selling millions of the distinctive bottles. Many of the larger brewery chains also started bottling beer in 7-ounce bottles starting in the 1950s. By the 1960s, many independent breweries couldn't compete with the consolidating beer giants of America, leading to the closure of numerous small brewers across the country. Facing an extremely competitive beer market and management troubles, the Rhinelander Brewing Company filed for bankruptcy in 1967 after 74 years of beer making. In 2009, Joti Aulich acquired the Rhinelander assets and aimed to bring Rhinelander beer back to its roots. In 2017, Aulich reintroduced Rhinelander Shorties to the market in a slightly different looking, but still 7-ounce bottle. It was well received by both old and new Rhinelander beer enthusiasts, evoking nostalgia for better brewing days in Rhinelander. Unfortunately, due to the rising material costs and the failure of old bottling equipment used to make Shorties, the beer was discontinued, much to the dismay of Rhinelander Shorty and novelty beer enthusiasts across Wisconsin. Today, we might ask once again, where's Shorty? Well, Rhinelander Brewing Company beer is still available on tap at the Rhinelander Brewing Company tap room in downtown Rhinelander, where we can relive a bit of brewing history. It's no longer available in the short bottle. For now, I'll raise a glass in hopes of Shorty's return someday. I'm Carrie Bladorn, and this is Connecting the Dots, reliving Northwoods history on Newswatch 12. Cheers.
Connecting the Dots, reliving Northwoods history with Carrie Bladorn.